participants from other universities, like for example, UUM, UPM, UKM, UPSI, and USIM, just to mention few. Welcome everyone. Thank you for following us. We hope that we can work together as a group to achieve our dreams to become intellectual with high qualification in academics. They say publication is important, but why is it important? How can we make sure our research articles will be published by cited high index journal? Today's workshop is about communicating research findings, how to get index journals. Today's workshop is about journals. What our process do we have to go through in order to get article to be published. So with that in mind, let's come together and make this research writing and publishing journey fun and interesting. Let's get published, everyone. Before we move on, once again, I would like to remind all participants to make sure your mics are muted to avoid any disruptions, especially during the speaker presentation. If you have any question, do leave them in the chat box and we will read them out later during the Q&A session. Without further ado, let me introduce our distinguished speaker for today. Please welcome Professor Dr. Fadzlan Sufian. Our speaker today is a man with remarkable background, currently serving as a faculty member at the UITM Faculty in Business and Management, UITM Cawangan, Melaka. Our speaker is a PhD holder in financial economics who specializes in financial sector performance, like for example, efficiency, productivity, and profitability analysis. Prior to joining UITM, he served as the principal professor at Cyberjaya Graduate School of Management and Finance, Islamic University, Malaysia, as well as a professor at Taylor's University and IIUM Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance. He also has over 12 years of experience working as an assistant vice president at Khazanah Nasional Berhad and an economist at CIMB Bank Berhad and Amanah Saham Mara Berhad. With over 160 publications in scholarly peer-reviewed, national and international journals and edited books, no doubt he is well-versed with knowledge and tips regarding the topic of our workshop today. So keep your ears peeled and take in everything he presents today, for his insight will definitely be detailed and useful. And I'll pass on to our speaker.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much to Mr. I hope that I address you with the correct title, Mr. Farid.
Yes.
Okay. With orang kata, the generous introduction about myself. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah. For sincere gratitude to the management of Universiti Teknologi Mara, particularly UITM Cawangan, Melaka, right, for giving me the opportunity to share some of my experience in regard to the publication process. Okay, by and far, okay, I'm just a normal person okay, I'm not the expert whatsoever. Okay, there are many others out there who are better than me, much better than me, who are more expert than me. So essentially, right, when the university give me the opportunity, right, to talk about, to share my experience in regard to the publications journey, right, I feel so, I would say honored I feel honored. So inshallah, okay, today what I'm going to do is, I would like to have more like a easy kind of session sharing session. This is not by anyhow, by any means lecture, things like that. Just that unfortunately, because of the pandemic that we all of us here have to experience, so we did not get the opportunity to have a face-to-face session. Okay, so normally, right, kalau if the session is a face-to-face session, right, then normally what I've always did is that was that it's a two-way punya session lah, two-way session. Not only I'll share my own experience, I will also ask the participants' experience in regard of the same. So that kita akan ada lebih banyak, we will have more views lah kan, from different angles and things like that. So benda tu lebih fruitful. But unfortunately, right, since this is online session and things like that, so I think and with the limited time that we have,
Yeah.
so it's going to be like a one way punya, most of the time lah one way punya session lah, right. So apa nama ni, just some of the caveats lah before I move on. I start with my lecture ataupun my session lah kan. There are some caveats that I would like to put forth lah. Okay. Basically, right, what I'm going to share with you here, my own thoughts, my own experience, and also my own belief. Okay, my own belief. So far, Alhamdulillah, despite, I see that there's my own belief, my own criteria that I set and things like that, it have never done me any harm lah. So that is also actually the same set of standard that, I've used ataupun that I've applied to all my PhD students ataupun master students. Later, insyaAllah, when we go through, right, I will, emphasize, more closely lah, on what I've been talking about. Right. Okay. So, as hopefully, okay, sorry. How to share? Can you see the slides now?
Not yet. I am not
Okay.
seeing anything.
Okay, correct. Okay. Maybe okay, this one. Okay. Okay. Can you see the slide now?
Yes, I can
Okay,
see it.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. Right.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so as been pointed out by Mr. Farid earlier on, okay, the topic for me to share today will be on the issue of research and publications. Particularly, I'll be focusing more on the economics and finance lah. But however, not necessarily, right? This this topic ni, right? The one that I'm going to share today, it's not applicable to other major ataupun other field. But why I said that it's more on the economics and finance, because most of the time, you see that the examples that I've given, right, in my PowerPoint slides, more related to the economics and finance journals, economics and finance journal.
I see.
Right. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Right. So, essentially, okay, the topic that that I wanted to share with you all today, right? Taken from, okay, this is actually, half lah. Okay, the longer version of this presentation is basically a 2-day presentation. I've normally been called to give some talk workshop on research and publication. So, it has been a 2 days workshop, right, on research and publication. So, I've been using, this, like similar slides, but, I have to shorten, at lots of places lah, because of due to the time constraint and things like that. Okay, so, as we are all aware, okay, talking about publication for us academicians, it is, I believe that most of us, ataupun all of us, we are all well aware that there is what we call as the publish or perish. Okay, publish or perish. So means that you know, if you want to stay long lah, kan, if you want to move forward, right, in the academic world, there's no other way other than, you know, for you to get yourself among others, you know, involved in the publication process. Okay, and we'll be talking about publication ni, right? You know, as far as I'm concerned, general publication is the most, you know, the weight is the highest lah, the weight is highest. Okay, right. From my own point of view, okay, from my own point of view, there are 5 different aspects of publication. Okay, so inshallah today, right, I will go through with you, okay, each and every one of these 5 different aspects of publication, right, so that hopefully, right, by end of, you know, our sharing session nanti, right, you will be able to, you know, get some perspective lah, get some perspective. Okay, so the 5 different aspects of publications, right, the first one will be research strategies. Okay, whatever that we wanted to do, we have to plan lah. Okay, we have to plan, we have to have our own strategy. You know, you have to plot, right, you know, your direction, okay, where you want to go to. You know, similarly, right, you're talking about publication process, okay, you need to, you know, have your target. Okay, where do you want to publish your papers in? Which outlet, which journal? Kan? Kalau kata, you know, if like someone like myself kan, you know, I'm already towards the end of my years lah kan. So, you know, it's a little bit different lah mungkin kan, compared to the younger generation. So you are very still energetic and things like that. Right, so you need to, right, from the early days kan, the early days you need to have this strategy. Okay, jangan tunggu dah lama besok kan, you know, dah towards the end of your you know, end of the road dah kan, baru kita nak, you know, look at, you know, which journal you want to target, and itu dah considered a little bit too late lah. Okay, right. Then the second aspect of publication will be writing the paper, which is, I would say that, you know, the most important part lah. Okay, the most important part, right? We'll be looking at that later on, inshallah. And then journal targeting. You know, this is also, right, sometimes we do not really, you know, emphasize or give particular attention on where we want to submit our papers to. But, you know, there are many times over, okay, since, you know, if you did not, right, if you did not choose your outlets carefully, then it may result in outright rejection. Okay, it may result in outright rejection. Okay, and the fourth one, the fourth aspect of publication will be coping with rejection. Okay, this is also something yang I would like to highlight lah, and to especially the younger punya generations ni kan. Okay, you know, if you ask me, okay, from my own, orang kata own experience lah, okay, I've seen more rejection letters than acceptance letters throughout, you know, my orang kata, you know, journey lah, publication journeys. I've received more rejection letters compared to acceptance letters. But, you know, remember one thing, okay, do not, you know, put yourself so down. Okay, you know, there is parts and parcel of, you know, the process, okay, learning process and things like that, because you have to remember, okay, you have to remember, okay, you know, the reviewers, they are just human beings. Okay, the reviewers are just human beings. So not necessarily what they said to, right, you have to follow, ataupun what they said is wrong ataupun is correct. You know, so you have to be strong. Okay, I've seen lots of, you know, instances whereby, kan, you know, you submit paper, then the paper got rejected, then what you do is, right, you know, you cry, you know, you know, do not want to proceed, kan, biarkan paper tu duk berabuk kat atas meja, kan, something which is to me is very wrong, right? That is a wrong strategy lah, and then the last one will be revision and resubmission. This one is, okay, I would say that, you know, orang kata depends on luck jugalah. Okay, depends on luck. Okay, sometimes later we look at that. Okay, you may get just revise once, then the paper got accepted. Okay, tapi not necessarily. Okay, if you're talking about from my own experience, the outlets that I have submitted my papers to, then you'll be talking about not one orang kata revision required, tetapi there will be multiple times of revisions needed. Dan masih belum lagi, still not guaranteed your paper going to be accepted. So let's move on, to the first key aspect of publication. Okay, the first one, as I pointed out, concerns research strategies. Okay, research strategies. So as I pointed out earlier on, like myself, I'm moving on to 5 series punya age lah, kan? So 5 series punya age ni, normally, like even last time when I did my PhD, my supervisor, Prof. Dr. Muzaffar Shah Habibullah, in UPM, he served more like an advisor to me, advisor to me, and also I'm using, bukan kita menggunakan supervisor ni, kita duduk tonggang dia macam kuda dia buat semua benda untuk kita, tidak. When I said I'm using, how do I say that I'm using my supervisor ni is his name, his credibility, his credential, for me to break into some journals yang it's hard for me to break through. Okay, so inshallah, later on we will talk more about that. Okay, so those young researchers, particularly those of you who have just graduated, ataupun orang kata those of you yang dah DRP, you have already defense your proposal and now is moving on to analysis part. Okay, that should be the best time for you to launch your academic career. Okay, start writing papers. Kan? It's not when you already, report for duty, to your university after you have further your studies, then only you want to write papers. That one, okay, tapi, it's not the best time. Okay, when is the best time? If you ask me, while, you are writing your analysis during your PhD. And I believe that, now, at this point of time, there are many universities that require students, to, publish papers before they can graduate. Okay, so use that opportunity, use that opportunity to start publishing papers. There is also some things I've been doing, even before I enroll to do my PhD. So that is another long story lah. Okay, because my supervisor last time, my PhD supervisor, the first time when I asked him to do, to be my supervisor, he was reluctant. He was reluctant to accept me as a student, and I know that, because my CV was not impressive enough to him. He wanted someone yang memang, have already published papers, then only, he's willing to look at. Then, knowing that, only I started to publish papers. Then after I've published, I think like about a dozen papers, then only I go and see him. Prof, can you accept me now as a student? Then he said, oh, okay, now you can apply. So I have to impress him first, because I know that he's an excellent teacher, excellent mentor, everything. So that was my story lah, that time. Okay, right. So during this earlier part of your career, so what should you focus on? Okay, I've highlighted here, you should focus more on volume. Okay, not to say that you can just go and publish anywhere, submit lah mana-mana pun doesn't matter. No, tapi later, right, I will share with you. This is also again my own personal opinion, my own personal point of view, right? You can start off with tier 3 ataupun tier 2 journals. Okay, tier 1, right? Maybe you boleh keep that right towards the later stage of your career. You have to show your productivity. Means that you need to highlight, you need to show your potential. You need to show your potential. Okay, so as I pointed out, right, your thesis is a good starting point, right? Who will be your guidance, right? Your thesis supervisor. That would be an excellent, I would say, co-author lah. Excellent co-author. I'm telling you, this is also based on my own experience. Okay, while I was doing my PhD, okay, 3 years, right? That 3 years, my supervisors punya publication punya KPI, saya seorang, me myself, right, help my supervisor to achieve his KPI, publication KPI, So so he helped us, right? Guide us to our PhD and things like that, and then we how can we contribute. Our supervisors ni dia memang tak minta lah, never ask for money or whatever, right, in return. So what we can do is, right, we contribute, right, we help them, for instance, to meet their yearly KPI. That was what I did last time, right? Okay, and right, during this early stage, right, what you need to know, right, is in regard to your advantages, your strength, right, and your weaknesses. Okay, if you have some weaknesses, okay, then what you need to do is find others. Okay, do not work in silo. Okay, do not work in silo unless you memang you are someone yang memang method pun okay, writing skill pun excellent. Then you can work in silo. You don't need anyone else. You can sit in your room, right, on your own. You run your data analysis, then you write your paper, everything, right? You don't need people. But right, we as human beings definitely we have our lots of limitations. So right, we can always seek help with others. Right, sometimes you are very good in technical, right? You can run whatever, econometric models, whatever, right? No problem. But when it comes to writing of the paper, right? Maybe your English is not that strong. Okay, how to structure your paper, in terms of flow and things like that. So maybe, right, go and find someone that you can collaborate. Okay, collaborate. Okay. And you have to also be critical on your current research area. Okay. This is something yang very important. Okay, especially within the context of, right, economics and finance. When you talk about like myself, okay, most of my research, have been concentrated on the secondary data. Okay, secondary data. Okay, so you need to keep yourself abreast with new issues, okay, latest issues, latest topics. Okay, don't do to you, right? You have to focus on what others like to see, what others like to to look at ataupun to listen. Not what something that you like to do. Because sometimes what you like to do may not necessarily be what is important to others. Okay, so look at go find some issues yang is important, right, to the general public ataupun to the world economy, for instance, right? Then insyaAllah, okay, then your the possibility ataupun your chances of getting your research topic atau your papers to publish is much more higher, right? Much better chance lah, much better chance. Okay, right? Okay, and besides, okay, not necessarily, right? If okay, your background is economics, then you need to find someone, right, from the economics field as well. Okay, not necessary. Okay, okay, I've been invited, okay, to, lots of, like look at other projects, cross-disciplinary projects involving, right, bukan satu faculty, not one faculty, but different, right, 3 or 4 different faculties. Chemical, faculty, what else? Hotels, this, faculty, so they are different lah, kan? Housing, building and planning lah, whatever, right? So there are many faculties involved in one research project. So that is a cross-disciplinary. Okay, or right, not necessarily you go find someone. Okay, you go find someone, from different faculties, boleh juga, no problem. But you can also, right, look at how I would say that, you can employ the same, okay, the same tool ataupun method, but right, you use that method to, right, to measure ataupun to analyze different sectors. Okay, no problem, can be done. Okay? For instance, right, I've been working lah, most of my research papers, those of you know me lah, kan. So knows that, my area of specialization, right, is financial institutions. Performance, efficiency, productivity, profitability, I measure lah competition and things like that. Okay, but not necessarily, right, whatever method that I have learned, right, that I've employed, can only be used in the financial institution sectors only. Okay, I can employ the same method, right, panel data, whatever, kan, to many other sectors, kan, hotels, what else, restaurants, healthcare, universities, education, no problem. Okay, so do not say that, oh, my specialization is financial institutions. Okay, so if there are other opportunities, then you just shut it down, right? That is a wrong strategy lah. Okay, so to be productive, to show your productivity, right? So you have to enhance, enhance, your capabilities lah, in terms of topics and things like that. Okay, all right. So next, okay, the issue in terms of, this is related to, the topic that, okay, you can address, okay, the type of research lah, okay, where you can get your ideas from. Okay, so generally, okay, when I ask, okay, participants lah, okay, I ask participants or even, many other students, okay, that I have met, okay, where do you get your ideas from? And if you want to do some research, then you want to embark on the research, okay, where do you get the topics from? Okay, what is your source? Ataupun what are your sources? Okay, then 99% of them will answer me, journals lah. Okay, journals, kan? So meaning that, many lah, like, I've listed here, right, the 4 main, publishers lah, in orang kata in the journal punya publication, Elsevier ataupun Science Direct, then kita ada Taylor and Francis ataupun Routledge, then kita ada Wiley Blackwell and Springer. Okay, so these are all journal publishers, right? So they say that they go and find atau look for their new ideas ni daripada these papers published in these journals. Okay, and from again, this is my own point of view. Okay, my own point of view. If you want to find a new idea, if you want to get a new idea, and you get these new ideas ni daripada from journals atau papers that have been published in journals, then you go to the wrong place. Okay, tempat yang salah. Kenapa saya cakap, apa salah tempat yang salah? Okay, sebab, okay, the reason is because, okay, do you know how long does it take for a paper to get published in journals? Okay, how long does it take for a paper to get published in the journal? Alright, so let me share with you lah. Okay, I have published quite a number of paper dengan Elsevier. Okay, I would say that this is the top publisher lah, Science Direct. Okay, the longest that I've waited, okay, was the paper that I've submitted to Journal of Asian Economics. Okay, how long it was? How long does it take? For three times solat Aidilfitri. Okay, 3 times solat Aidilfitri means 3 kali hari raya. 3 kali hari raya, so generally ataupun technically you can say that, right, it takes me 3 years, right, for that paper to get published. Sampai orang kata mula-mula idea tu fresh, after 3-4 years, then you can say that dah basi lah. Kan, benda tu dah jadi dah macam not so hot anymore. So kalau, right, if journals is not the best, right, source of ideas, so where what is the best source of ideas? The most current one. Okay, the answer will be, right, conferences and working papers. Okay, conferences, right? Conferences ni, right, most of the time, okay, researchers will present, right, their first draft or maybe their second draft. Okay, first draft ataupun second draft. They present their ideas to get some comments from the participants. Dekat situ, from there, right, you get the idea. Oh, this is something new. Then only you can follow. Right, you can replicate, but not to use the same data, things like that lah. Kita gunakanlah, right? We use, right, the example ataupun the sample of our country ataupun our region. Okay, so you can make improvisations, tak ada masalah. Okay, ataupun working papers. These are all I would say that the most recent, where you can get new ideas from. Okay, again, right, that is my own opinion lah. I may be wrong, right? Some others may have different opinions. Okay, right. So look at, okay, a need to make, orang kata, a contribution. Okay, so when you write this paper, right, tak kisahlah. Even when you talk about, writing your thesis even. Okay. As long as, okay, I've been also examiner for many times already, right? Master's thesis or PhD thesis. Okay, as long as I can see, right, the contributions of your paper or the contributions of your thesis, then insyaAllah for me is adequate. Okay, right. Kalau, right, if you want to write the paper, right, with the view, right, that you wanted to, enter the Nobel laureate punya prize, ni kan, competition ke whatever, right, tunggulah, right. It's not the earlier part of your career. Maybe, towards the end, okay, you are already, orang kata, decorated professor kan. Then, maybe then, okay, you can start looking at, orang kata, publish ataupun come out with a revolutionary ideas. Right. So collaborate, right, with others to learn, right? Then strike on your own. Okay, what does this mean? Okay, what does this mean? Means that, okay, sometimes if you can get collaboration with other authors, especially, right, authors that are considered to be as the leader ataupun the guru in the field, alhamdulillah. Okay, chances are, right, better for the paper to be accepted for publication in journals. But do not over rely on the same name over and over again. Okay, I've been telling the same to my, to my PhD students last time pun. Right. Initially, when they wanted to start, when they want to launch their career, right, after they have graduated, okay, then they say that, Prof, whatever kan, can I put your name on my paper, kan, to help increase the chances of my papers getting published. Okay, then I said, okay, no problem. Okay, but after some time, right, after the student has already established himself, right, find his confidence. Okay, then I said that, okay, now it's time for me, for you to drop my name from your papers. You have to go on your own. This is also something that you need to know. Okay, right. How well you are. Okay, so if you look at the papers that I've published, okay, ada yang, right, there are some papers that are, only two authors, right, myself and my supervisor. Some others, right, maybe three or four co-authors. There are many others that I am alone. Okay, I'm solo. So means that what? Means that you are the one that do everything. So means that you show that you are confident, with what you are doing. That is also very important. Okay, you need to show, right? That you are, apa nama ni, orang kata, researcher with caliber lah, kan? Not only you go and write with others, something like that. Especially, right, try to achieve this, right, during the earlier part of your career, right, inshallah. Right, and on interesting topics, okay, but as I pointed out earlier on, right, make sure that jangan kita never write something that we like the topic, but nobody else wanted to know about that topic. Jadi shock sendiri, shock sendiri. So when you write something that you like but nobody else wanted to read, right, then what is the implication? The implication is that nobody is going to read the paper, then you can never receive any citations. So if you did not receive citations, then the impact will be your H index is going to be low. So write something, right, interestingly, right, to you and also in the eyes of many others, right, so that inshallah, okay, it will attract attention, okay, and it will also, right, increase the probability of your papers getting cited, right? Okay, moving on, inshallah. Okay, so the second aspect of publication, right, will be writing the paper. So this all depends on, okay, much depends on the outlet that you plan to submit your papers to. Okay, generally, if you're talking about journals, okay, they have some like 5,000 to 700 words lah, the limit. Okay, 5,000 to 700 words limit. Okay, but for letters ni means that, right, kalau you tengok in economics, kita ada economic letters, applied economic letters, so generally, right, the length of the paper, right, would be more restricted lah, around 2,000 to 3,000 words only. Okay, but there are also, right, so for instance, Journal of Economic Service, okay, Journal of Economic Service ataupun JEL, Journal of Economic Literature, then normally if you want to submit your papers, right, to that type of journals, then okay, the word limit is around 8,000 to 10,000 words. Okay, so this is also one aspect of publication that you need to be aware of lah. Okay, right. During the revision process later on, okay, initially memanglah you submit 5 to 7,000 words, okay, tapi later on datang reviewer ni, okay, reviewer A ask you to do, right, so many things, 2 pages of comments, okay, reviewer B 4 pages of comments, at that, so many things have to do. Okay, then kalau if only 2 reviewers, okay, sometimes you may get 3 or 4 reviewers also. right? Depending on situations. So each and every one will ask you to do different things. So what would result is that, right, your paper, right, is going to be very long. So because of your not robust, you need to do additional analysis. So you put more tables inside because as suggested by the reviews. Okay, but there are also times when the reviewer say that you can cut short this section, okay, cut short that section, then maybe, right, your paper can be shortened, right? Okay, so you know when we talk about the perspective of the reader, the perspective of the reader, try to I would say focus on one topic, and the best that you could do is enhance your analysis. Enhance your analysis. That analysis part, okay, will be, I would say, your contributions lah. Will be your contributions. So if you want to write, a little bit long, right, then make sure it's on the analysis parts. Because if you talk about the methodology section, the literature review section, normally those are parts where the reviewers ataupun the readers will not spend so much time because they already know the method, and they are also well aware of the literature. So no need for you to go and write too long and on those parts. Next. Write in the third person, avoid jargons, write in present tenses. These are all very important. Right. So write in third person. What does it mean? What does it mean, write in third person? Write in third person means, never use I. Never use I. That even myself, dalam saya punya PhD thesis pun, saya tak berbual I. I never put in this thesis I examine. That is that thing lah. Moreover, when you talk about submitting your papers to journals, never use I. Exception given to who? Exception given to if you are a Nobel laureate winner. Kalau nama you Merton Miller, kan? Nama you siapa lagi? Nobel Prize laureate, economics, finance for instance. So if you are Nobel Prize winner, contoh dia Paul Krugman. So these people, they can write in first person. I find that, I analyze, my results show, so boleh, these people, they can write in first person. Otherwise, you have to put we. Walaupun you are the sole author of the paper. So this is unwritten rule lah. Unwritten rule. Kalau tidak, the reviewers ataupun the reader of your paper akan tengok, they will see that you are someone yang diconsider sebagai egocentric person. Kita tak nak lah, kan? We belum apa lagi, we show to the reader ataupun kita punya reviewer ni, we are an egocentric person. So try to avoid that. Avoid jargons, even acronyms before you indicate the acronym, then you have to spell in full. And then juga, right, this is something yang very difficult, right, even for myself. I'm still learning, right, to write everything in present. Present, except for the literature review section. Your results ke, your introduction ke, whatever section right in present tense. Ini kan memang if you ask me, because I was born as although I do not look like 100% Malay lah kan, because my mother is mixed but again lah, I'm a kampung boy. I was not born in the America, US, UK ke whatever kan. My whole family talk Malay, so definitely lah kan, the challenge for us to write everything in present. Okay, right. Next, put a lot of effort in the introduction section is the most important section. Doesn't matter whether you are looking at your PhD thesis ataupun papers that you plan to submit for publication. The introduction section is the most important section. Okay, right. So the full section lah. Okay. Before that kita ada abstract. Sama juga. Sometimes, right, I've observed that many authors, right, many researchers, they tend to see like intro saja. Okay, so they thought that this intro section is nothing. They try to impress, right, at towards the end of the paper, right? But if you want to impress, even the results and things like that, okay. Whereas when your introduction section ni, right, dah koyak, okay, then what will happen is that, okay, you have already lost the battle. Okay, start saja, when your examiner baca, apa benda ni flow tak ada, the flow is not nice, right, abrupt, ataupun not nicely followed one paragraph to another, grammar is very poor, right, you did not motivate your study properly, right, you did not highlight the problems, the contributions, the objective, right, in your introduction section, right, how do you expect, right, your examiner ataupun the reviewer is going to read, right, throughout your paper? Okay, the best that they will do is, when they read the first introduction section and they do not find it interesting, they will just put the paper aside, right, and until after the editor asks them, have you completed the review or not? Give me one day, then they start writing lah, kan, because they dah tahu dah, already make conclusions that the paper is not interesting. Okay, so that is the reason why. Again, this is also something that I always highlight ataupun tell to my students, be aware. Okay, be aware. Okay, focus, right? Give attention, right, on the introduction section.
Attention apa?
Come again? Okay. Right. Okay. Right. So that is something right. I would say that you need to put lots of emphasis on. Okay. Other things that you need to focus on, right? Keep as much information in regard to your bibliography lah. Okay, but maybe this is something not that very crucial, and then how many times would you require, right, before I can recommend you to submit your papers. Okay, at least if you ask me, okay, I continue, right, read and make some amendments at least 3 to 4 times. After I've written the first draft, print it out, I read. Okay, definitely lots of mistakes, grammatical mistakes, things, lots of things lah. Okay, make amendments, right, and then after, like 1 week or 2 weeks, then I print the paper again, right, read it again, right, make amendments, so 2 or 3 times until bila you baca, right, when you read, then there are not so many, I would say corrections need to be made. Then, you can. Means that it's quite safe lah for you to submit your the paper to journals. And then maintain a log of your research papers, especially those yang you have submitted. Okay, I normally have several files lah. Okay, papers under review, right? Paper requiring revisions, right? Papers that I have resubmit after revisions, then also paper that have been accepted for publication, right? So I have different files lah, right, for each and every categories of papers, right? Selecting a journal, which is the third aspect of publication.
Dalam wireless.
Okay. So when we talk about, right, the third aspect of publication will be selecting a journal. Okay, selecting a journal where you can submit your papers to. Okay, right. So again, I pointed out earlier on, right, I have actually divided, okay, within the context of economics and finance, okay, I have divided journals into three different tiers. Okay, so the first tier, which is the lowest one lah, okay, tier 3, okay, the lowest tier, right? So generally where you can find, right, journals, kalau dah tak tahu sangat, okay, you have no ideas, okay, you can go to the JEL or the Econlit list of journals. Okay, there are more than 1,000. Okay, there are more than 1,000 journals listed in JEL or Econlit, right, where you can submit your papers to. Right, most of the journals are in that list, right, concerned ataupun related to economics and finance. But okay, not necessarily, okay, those journals yang listed in the JEL or the Econlit list tu adalah tier 3, because you have to remember American Economic Review is also in that list. Jangan tengok American Economic Review, lepas tu ingat dia pun tier 3, senang nak publish, dia pun hantar. Kan? Memang jawapan dia, lambat lah kan. Okay, right. Okay, so generally I would suggest lah, especially towards the earlier part of your career, okay, you can submit to these journals tadi. Okay, submit to these journals, tier 3 punya level, right? Because in terms of the rejection rates, okay, it is quite low rejection rate to medium rejection rate. Means that, okay, most of the time, the chances of your papers, ataupun papers submitted to these journals getting accepted, right, is much higher. Okay, much higher. Okay, right. So, generally, okay, what others have been doing lah, kan? We have tried submitting the papers to, for instance, tier 2 punya journals, but got rejected time and again. Then dia kata memang tak boleh pergilah, kan, this paper. Okay, then only you consider this tier 3 journal. Right? Okay, but the idea behind is because, okay, is actually, do not make a habit of, publishing in these tier 3 journals ataupun journals yang the rigorousness of ataupun the selection tu low. Okay, because again, this is something yang very important also, at least from my point of view. Okay, gurus lah ataupun reputable authors, they will always look at, okay, where you publish your articles in, which outlet, which publishers. Okay, so do not make a habit lah, kan, go and submit atau publish papers in orang kata the so-so journals. Okay, try to orang kata focus ataupun target, right, the more reputable publishers ataupun reputable journals. Right. Okay, so the tier 2 journals, okay, the tier 2 journals, what are they? Right, This is my own opinion. Okay, again, this is my own opinion. Right, these tier 2 journals are journals that are being published by reputable publishers. Okay, reputable publishers. We have here Elsevier or Science Direct, Wiley Blackwell, Taylor and Francis Springer. Right, the first four, right, the first four here are, I would say, the tier 1 publishers. Okay, I have, later on, okay, I have a diagram. Inshallah, I will show you later on. Okay, and there are many others, right? Reputable publishers as well, like Palgrave, Sage, Emerald, In the Science, Oxford University Press, OUP, right? Also considered to be as tier 2 journals. Okay, tier 2 journals. Okay, generally lah, generally. Okay, and the characteristic of, right, these tier 2 journals, okay, from my own point of view would be, right, medium to high prestige. Medium to high prestige, and then comes, with the prestige tu adalah the rejection rates. Medium to high rejection rates. Okay, especially the top publisher lah, right? Elsevier, Wiley Blackwell, Taylor and Francis Springer, right? The rejection rates are very, very, very high. Okay, but it is worth it lah for you to try. Okay, worth it for you to try. If you want to build, really launch your career, focus on these top 4 publishers. So that really will, orang kata, enhance the value of the CV lah. Okay, at least from my point of. Less than 20%. I would say 20% is generous. Okay, 20% is generous. Okay, I'm telling you, right? Submission, okay, number of submission, right, for journals normally 1 year. If the journal is ISI or even Scopus, normally it's around maybe close to 1,000. Okay, but 1 year, right, they can only publish, right, maximum, I think, 24, right, maybe 30, right, papers, right. Submission that they receive in 1 year is probably close to 1,000, right. Papers that they can publish in a year is just around, right, 20 to 30, depending on issues. Okay, normally journals, right, you tengok, right, 1 year, right, there are only 4 issues. Satu issue, right, maximum, right, they have like 8 papers, sometimes 6. Okay, right, if 6 times 4 a year, then only 20, 24. So you have to just calculate, you can do your own calculation lah, kan? The probability of acceptance, they cannot accept all, right? So the rejection rate is definitely going to be very, very, very high. So if it's less than 20%, right? So 20% ni, I would say that, quite generous, quite generous. Okay, but what is good about, okay, being, getting your papers published in these tier 2 journals ataupun these reputable publishers? Good representation in electronic access and databases. Okay, apa electronic access and databases? Right, kalau you Google ya, right, memang jumpa lah, kan? Definitely the visibility, right, the visibility of papers, right, published in these, the tier 1 publishers, right, ataupun, tier 2 publishers even, ataupun the tier 2 journals ni, right, in general, right, is going to be very, 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 very high. So like I pointed out earlier on, right, right, why it is so important, right, for you to have a good ataupun high visibility, right, for your papers that have been published, right, with a high visibility, right, then there's a high tendency people will cite your paper. Okay, it will enhance your, right, H index. Okay, one of those things lah, kan, yang as an academician, right, normally university will be looking at your H index. Okay, and these tier 2 journals ni, right, journals published by these reputable publishers should be your main hunting ground. Okay, and it should constitute about 80% of your career publications. I did not just say, okay, right. So whatever that I've stated here, okay, whatever that I've said here, right, if you look at, those number, the papers that I have published, the outlets, generally, close to that lah, about 80% of papers that I've published in, right, are in tier 2 journals. Okay, right. And the last one will be tier 1 journals. Okay, right. What are the tier 1 journals? Right, top 50 also journals in your discipline. Okay, very high prestige. Okay, right. Then kalau if you manage to get your papers published, you will list them first lah dalam you punya bio, kan? Among others, American Economic Review, right? Journal of Finance, Review of Financial Studies, Journal of Financial Economics, Journal of Banking and Finance. Okay, many top universities in the US, even in Australia, if you manage, to publish one article, one article published, right? For instance, in this tier 1 journal, among others, American Economic Review, for instance, publish one article in American Economic Review, one promotion. Yes. Okay. That is how difficult it is to get your papers published in these journals. You publish one article in American Economic Review or one article, right, published in Journal of Finance, one promotion. Maybe some of you have heard the name, right? Westerlund. He's a professor, right? He's a professor in one of the Australian universities. I couldn't remember which university he currently serves as a faculty member at. But that guy, he got his PhD, I think, his age then was like less than 30 lah, 20 plus dia dah professor. Okay, but if you look at the publications and the outlet that he has published his papers in, right? Journal of Econometrics. So I pointed out one paper published, right, in this tier 1 journal, one promotion. So daripada senior lecturer, right, he publishes 3 papers in the tier 1 journal, dah dapat professor lah, then relax, kan? But to get your paper published in this tier 1 journal, this is like the biggest nightmare lah, kan? Of your life. But it's worth it lah, kan? Worth it. Okay, high rejection rates, acceptance rate is about 5 to 10%. Again, like I pointed out, 5 to 10% ni pun sangat generous. Currently maybe less than 2% even the acceptance rate. High impact factors, right? So nice work if you can get your papers published in these journals. So I'm not saying that impossible. Everything is possible. Ataupun you can say that impossible is nothing. Bukan nothing is impossible. Impossible is nothing. Macam mainan makanan kita lah harian, kan? You can try. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure about the Indonesian side, sahabat-sahabat kita di Indonesia, tapi as far as I'm concerned, Malaysian, daripada Malaysia Universiti belum lagi lah, kan? I've never seen any names yang have ever published in Journal of Finance ataupun American Economic Review. Okay, kalau Journal of Banking and Finance ni ada. Okay, I've seen couple of Malaysians at least, Indonesians also have published in Journal of Banking and Finance. But I'm not sure, right? Indonesians, whether any Indonesians, our faculty members in Indonesia have ever published in Journal of Finance ataupun American Economic Review. But it's not something yang impossible, right? Still, the chances are still there, inshallah, right? So the younger generations, maybe inshallah you can try. Right. So moving on, right? Some journals that have definite bias for authors and papers for certain geographic areas or institutions. Okay. So geographic areas ni I wouldn't want to comment so much lah. Tapi kalau institutions ni, ini memang very, I would say quite ni lah kan, quite clear lah juga. Okay, kalau kita co-author tu, our co-author daripada Oxford, Side Business School, kan, daripada Harvard Business School, ataupun Stanford University, kan, ataupun Wharton School of Business, kan. Jadi, kan, the chances, of your papers to getting a favorable comment tu is much, higher lah, kan. So there is a definite bias towards, I would say, these institutions. So again, like I pointed out, okay, the reviewers, they are just human beings. Okay, they are not robots. Okay, so definitely, they have some benda-benda macam tu lah, kan, the biasness, in terms of, geographical punya location, institution and so on and so forth. Right. Again, okay, what I've been following so far, okay, I would, look at someone, okay, look at someone that I look, ataupun, someone yang I consider to be as my mentor lah, kan. Look at that person, look at his CV, okay, look at where has he or she published his or her papers in. Okay, then try to replicate. I've done the same thing as well. Okay. Kalau kita tak dapat nak replicate 100% sekalipun, okay, kalau kita tak dapat nak replicate 100% sekalipun, kalau kita dapat replicate, dapat 90% pun, alhamdulillah, sangat baik. Siapa, ask yourself, who is the person yang you look up to? Okay, then look at his or her CV, right? Look at the outlets, journals that the person has published his or her papers in, then try to replicate, achieve whatever the person has achieved. Okay, that is also something yang saya buat, right? I did it for myself. And okay, have a wish list of journals you would like to target someday. Okay, so make a wish list, kan? Dan kita doa lah kot, kan? Try to do the best. Apa semua kita tengok, kan? What are the requirements needed, right, for you to get your papers published in those journals, insyaAllah. Right. The next couple of slides, okay, I'm just giving you some example lah, right? Some of the submission system, journals submission system. This is manuscript 1. Kalau say, apa nama ni, what you call that, Taylor and Francis ataupun Routledge, they are using this manuscript 1. Apa nama ni, submission system, right? Okay, so this one, right, Wiley Blackwell, right, also uses the apa nama ni, what you call that, the manuscript, right, the same manuscript submission system, right. Palgrave is quite a little bit different, right. The submission system is a little bit different, right. So different, journal publishers, okay, they have, right, different submission system. Okay, maybe, right, currently lah, the modern world sekarang kan, belum, I've never lah kot, tak pernah lah you all kena submit, you have to submit a hard copy of your paper, kan, never. But okay, when I first started writing, right, papers, there are a few outlets, okay, that requires me to submit the hard copy of the manuscript. I have to submit the hard copy of the manuscript. One of the outlets that I can still remember until today is I couldn't remember, JPM. JPM, which is General Policy Modeling, Elsevier. Okay, I have to submit the hard copy of the manuscript to the editorial office. But now, you know, sekarang ni dah tak perlu. Everything, right? Can, you know, there's a submission system ataupun you can email to the editor office. Right. Okay. So next, moving on. Okay, this is the fourth element, right, of publication process, coping with rejection. Okay. You know, asam garam. You know, publication process ni, I would say that apa nama ni? You know, rejection ni is something that you cannot run away lah, kan? You know, and there are many reasons why your papers got rejected. Okay, sometimes your papers got rejected not because of the content ataupun the rigorousness of your study. Sometimes maybe the outlet that you submit your papers to not that really you know, suitable, you know, ataupun you know, maybe orang kata, you know, the issue that, you know, the paper that you submitted to, the issue that you address in that particular paper, right, have been over represented, right? Meaning that there are so much atau so many papers that have been published in that journal tu, talking about the same things, the same issues. Jadi dia kata, you know, so if there's another one, if the editor accept another paper to be published, right, you know, so macam dah jadi, you know, like over represented lah. So that is why, you know, your paper got rejected. But sometimes, okay, they do not really, you know, give you the exact, you know, reason why your paper got rejected. Sometimes dia cakap, dia kata, kan, dia kata, unfortunately, we cannot accept your paper at this point of time. Thank you for your interest in our journal. Kan? Dia tak bagi tahu, dia tak, you know, never indicate, they never tell you that, oh, you know, it's overrepresented, ataupun, you know, your journal is not, the scope of your issue is beyond, you know, our journal punya coverage ke whatever, right? Sometimes they do not. Okay, right. So, you know, what you can do is that, okay, like I pointed out, okay, it's not the end of the day. Okay, kalau, right, your paper tu got death rejection contoh dia, then, right, by all means go and submit to some other outlets. Okay, jangan kita rasa kecewa, then, you know, we just put our papers tu on the table sampai dia berabuk, dan, you know, kita tak buat apa-apa sebab kecewa, fresh, kan? Jangan macam tu. Okay, right, submit to other outlets. Okay, submit them to other outlets. Okay, right. So when we talk about rejection, okay, there are many types of rejections actually. Okay, the first one is what we call as an outright rejection. Ini clear lah, kan? Kalau tak faham juga, saya pun tak tahulah, kan? Memang, right? You know, the editor make himself or herself very clear. Okay, right. Ataupun we can say that, right, this is what we call as desk rejection. Okay, desk rejection. Okay, desk rejection. So means that the editor tu, for whatever reason, dia tengok you punya paper, right, dia kata, apa nama ni, not suitable, so dia tak hantar pun, right, never set out for review, right, so dia terus kata reject, return back to you. So like I've said this now earlier on, okay, submit to somewhere else. Okay, submit the paper somewhere else. Okay, talking about rejection, okay, let me spend a little bit time here. Okay, just want to share the experience of a noble
Professor?
Do you know how many times the paper got rejected? Okay, you know, the paper was not like outright accepted earlier on. Okay, it was rejected at least, okay, 2 times by two different journals. And the editor of those journals are his good friends. Kan? The reason given to him was we do not have space for trivial papers. Trivial. Okay. But he never give up hope. So what he did was, he still got rejected. He submit somewhere else. Got rejected again. He submit to the third place. Before the paper was eventually published, if I'm not mistaken, in Quarterly Journal of Economics. Okay, and the paper won Nobel Prize winner in economics. The same exact paper. Okay, the same exact paper. The paper was accused of being trivial paper. Okay, but he never gave up hope. But he believed that his works, his output memang ada quality. So kena percayalah dengan diri kita sendiri. Okay, implied rejection, right? The second type of rejection. Okay, essentially, if you talk about implied rejection, right? The editor actually, did not tell you, the paper has been rejected. Tetapi if you look at, the amount of corrections that needed to be done, memang you kata ni memang tak berbaloi lah, kan? Macam dah kena jadi macam paper baru, kan? Kena buat semua balik, kan? So as good as, rejected. Tapi, the editor ni a nicer person, so dia tak nak cakap kata the paper got rejected, so dia kata give you chance to resubmit. Tapi the amount of works need to be done is too much, so it's not worth it. So that is what we call as implied rejection. Okay, the saddest one will be rejection after revisions. Dah penat buat, okay, then after you have done, follow all the reviewers punya comments and things like that, then you got the decision, the final decision was to reject your paper. This is, I would say that the saddest moment lah. I would say the saddest kalau dalam banyak-banyak rejection after revisions ni is the hardest to swallow. But still, lessons learned lah. Okay, lessons learned. Okay, just again lah, kan, that's why I said I love to share my experiences. But I said that normally if I give this lecture, the talk lah, kan, in regard to this research and publications, always when I share my experiences, it's a 2 days punya talk, 2 days punya workshop, bukan 2 hours. This is the reason lah, kan, because I like to share my experience so that others will see that, okay, bukan kata you all je get your papers got rejected, kan. Saya sendiri pun have gone through all these processes. Okay, so if you ask me, my worst experience was rejection after revisions. Okay, I revised a paper 3 times. Okay, a paper that I submitted to International Transactions of Operational Research, ITOR. Okay, International Transactions in Operational Research. Okay, right. The journal is published by Wiley Blackman. When I submit my paper to the journal index tak ada pun. It's not Scopus index, it's not ISI, nothing. Tapi I believe that the journal is because the journal is published by Wiley Blackman. Okay, right. I revise. Okay, I follow the reviewer's recommendation, each and every one. Okay, I never miss. I did not miss even one single recommendation. Semua saya follow. Okay, after 3 times of revision, sampai dah jadi minor langsung, dah jadi like everything have been done. Okay, the editor decided to reject my paper. And to make things worse ataupun more sad to me, okay, now the journal is indexed by Scopus and also science citation in index. Okay, not social science, but science citation index. So, I've experienced that as well. So, kalau lah kata, if you experience that, okay, so don't feel bad about it. Right. So, moving on, when we talk about, okay, now for instance, okay, you receive the decision letter from the do revision, okay, as instructed ataupun as suggested by the reviewers. Okay, right. Like I pointed out, okay, the best, okay, that you can get at least one peer review lah, means that one referee report. But so normally you'll get 2. Okay, if you are not that lucky, you'll get 3 or 4. Okay, if you're not that lucky, you'll get 3 or 4. Okay, 3 or 4 referee reports. Okay, so some referees are very critical. Some of them, they are very supportive. They are very supportive. Okay, right. So my suggestion would be, okay, you highlight lah. Okay, the first thing that you need to do, you highlight. Okay, part mana, right? Which one of those comments are minor? Which ones of those comments are major? Okay, which ones are minor? Which ones are major? And so what you need to give concentration focus on is that, right, not all, okay, not all suggestions, okay, you need to address, okay, you can skip ataupun rebut, okay, some of the suggestions, okay, some of suggestions, but okay, my suggestion, right, based on my own experience, you can rebut, tapi okay, janganlah ribat banyak sangat. Not too many. Okay, if there are 10, okay, if there are 10 suggestions given by the referee, right, then 8 you ribat. Okay, we don't think we need to do this. We don't think we need to follow. We don't think this is necessary. Semuanya tak perlu kan. Jadi, right, based on my experience juga, okay, so kalau semua dia ribat, semua dia kata not important, not necessary, so in my report, reply to the editor, my decision is not necessary to publish the paper. I go and tell the editor, since all my recommendations, my suggestions, the author said not necessary to do, then I tell the editor, I say that not necessary for you to publish this paper. Kan? Janganlah kita insult pula kita punya reviewer tu kan. Kalau 1, 2, kan, boleh. Tak ada masalah. Contohnya daripada 10 recommendations, 10 suggestions, kita ribat 1 ataupun 2. Yang lain tu kita ikut. InsyaAllah tak ada masalah. Right? Okay. Right. Respond to the referee. Okay. To the editor. Right. In a separate attachment. Okay. Selalunya kalau, in the physical punya ataupun longer punya workshop, 2 days workshop, normally I will also show, macam mana rupa referee report, how does it look like. Okay. I will also show, right, how, I've addressed the referees, the referees punya comments, so normally I will show lah, kan, lots of examples, lots of examples if, during the orang kata full length punya workshop. Okay, right, so the next couple of slides here, later maybe you receive this, right, so these are some of the examples my own lah, and from my own. After I've done the revisions and resubmit, the revisions back to the journal, right? So some of the journals here, okay, this is, Journal of International Development, GID's Wiley Blackwell journal as well. Okay, what else? Ini SIJ, Service Industries Journal, okay, also requires revision, okay. So, revise and resubmit. Okay, right. So, how many times, right, can you expect, right, the editor asking you to do revisions at up to 4 times. This is what I've told you earlier on, right? Journal of Asian Economics, I'm lucky. Okay, after 3 years waiting, right? After 3 years waiting, after like 3, I think, revisions, the paper got accepted. Alhamdulillah, right? ITOR, International Transaction Operational Research, okay, waited till 2.5 years. After 3 revisions, right, the paper got rejected. Kan, itu memang rasa sedih sungguh lah, kan? Sedih so. Right. And sometimes, this is also based on my experience as well, kan? The same reviewer, mula-mula, right, they list like 10, right, 10 different comments, okay, so you have addressed everything, then, right, resubmit, then referee report came again, right, different comments. So buat benda lain pula. Ini memang sometimes feel frustrating lah, frustrating. Okay, right, so at the end of the day, okay, at the end of the day, right, the editor may, right, call, right, sometimes, lepas dah 3, 4, revision, masih lagi, the reviewer ni, dia dengki ke apa, saya pun tak tahu, kan. Dia pun kata, saya sendiri pun tak pernah publish jurnal ni, macam mana nak bagi dia ni publish kan, kita reject lah kan, tapi jangan cakap reject, suruh dia buat macam-macam. Revise berkali-kali kan, more than 2, 3, 4 times. Kan, lepas dah submitted the third time kan, the fourth time tu suruh revise lagi. Datang editor pun dah tak tahan. Editor cakap apa? Editor decided to say that, so I think, we need to stop this here. So I need to reject your paper. Because you have to remember, normally the editor will always cite the reviewer. Again, unless kalau you Nobel laureate lah, kan, ataupun you memang profesor kat Harvard ke apa kan, dia punya kawan baik ke apa, that's a different story. Tapi kalau like people like myself kan, memang normally the editor akan normally will cite to the reviewers punya comments ataupun pandangan views. Right, so if let's say, right, your paper got rejected ke apa, lepas you revise, so look at that from as a learning process, okay, each and every, right, orang kata rejections that you received, okay, you will learn something new, lots of times lah, kan, all the times, lots of the times, your papers got rejected, okay, but you will learn something new, how to enhance the rigorousness of your research ataupun your study. Right. So, right, these are also some other, right, examples, okay, and here are examples of papers, right, after the submission, your paper got accepted, right, your paper got accepted. So this is actually, a paper that I submit, right, to this journal, Research in International Business and Finance. Okay, publisher is Science Direct ataupun Elsevier, I believe. So if I'm not mistaken, I have like 2 papers published in this journal. The last time around when I submit my papers to this journal, it is just a Scopus punya journal, right? But sekarang ni, right now, it is already, ISI, right? Cited by ISI. Okay, last time when I submitted my papers, free of charge. Okay, free of charge, no submission fee, nothing. Sekarang ni, right, this journal also requires submission fee. Okay, again lah, because time does not permit us to talk long about that. Okay, kalau dapat full session betul-betul punya, then kita akan tengok kan apa itu APC, apa itu submission fee, kan, ada perbezaan. Right, so once your paper got accepted, alhamdulillah, kan, macam yelah, especially if you have gone through, dah tunggu 3 tahun kan, lepas tu paper accepted, sujud syukur kot, kan, rasa macam kalau kata setahun tu dapat 12 paper publish, rasa macam 12 kali orang kata ni lah, orang kata 12 kali hari jadi ke apa kan, celebrate kan. Kan, so that is how it feels lah kan, especially if we're talking about the tier 2, after lagi kalau tier 1 punya journals then once your paper have got accepted, published, normally the editor of the journal will ask you to review pula papers submitted to those journals. So meaning that you are already one of the experts lah. You are already one of the experts. Okay, so once you are being approached, you have been approached by the editor to review papers submitted to those journals. So my suggestion, my recommendation would be, do a good job. Buat yang terbaik. Okay, so insyaAllah, okay, by doing so, dia akan build good, build a very good goodwill, nice goodwill with the editor. So the next time around, bila you submit again your paper for publication in that journal, after doing your social service, reviewing papers submitted to the journal, so then chances for you to get your papers published ni lebih cerah. Editor ni pun dia tahu kan, kalau you dah do lots of reviewing punya work for the journal, jadi bila dia nak submit you punya paper tu for review, dia akan cari reviewer yang terkenal dengan kemurahan hatinya kan. Kan, dia easier punya reviewer. Dia bukan tak tahu, dia tahu. Kalau reviewer ni kan 90%, 95% dia mesti accept. Kan, yang reviewer ni kan 95% reject kan. Ada dia tak kena. Kan, so dia boleh pilih. Kan. So kalau kita dengan editor tu kita dah kenal ke kawan baik ke apa, jadi dia bagilah dekat kawan-kawan yang agak orang kata apa, lenient. Kan. So that is the benefit lah. Okay. Right. These are some of the pages, right? Invitation for reviewing for journals lah. Okay, this is Annals of Operation Research. Okay, invitation to review papers that have been submitted to these journals. Right. So the last part here, right, that I wanted to share with you, right, today, again, I've banyak benda lah yang saya terpaksa cut short kan, because time does not permit kan. Kita ada lebih kurang less than half an hour, about 20-25 minutes maybe, I don't know. Okay, so just wanted to go through with you, right, to share my own opinion, okay, in regard to selecting your outlets for publication. Okay, right. So here, right, the main issue that I would like to talk would be the separating the wheat from the chaff, right? Pay to publish or pay to view journal. Okay, what is the difference, right, between pay to publish or pay to view? Okay, kalau pay to publish ni, right, dia, right, generally you can say that dia ada APC lah, kan? Dia ada APC, Article Processing Charges. Kalau pay to view, okay, pay to view ni normally journal tu dia tak ada, right? It has no APC. Okay, it has no APC, right? Free of charge, right, to publish. Tetapi, but okay, the process definitely normally is very hard ataupun very rigorous. Okay, very rigorous. Some of the top 4 publishers, okay, the top 4 journal publishers ataupun the tier 1 publishers, like SAS Direct, Elsevier, Taylor and Francis, ataupun Springer, Wiley Blackwell. Now, most of their journals requires submission fee. To make ataupun to add salt to the wound. Okay, to add salt to the wound. Okay, right. So itulah like I pointed out, I didn't have much time to go into detail and to make things very clear, right? So I just like give you just the overview lah, right? So normally right, when we talk about, right, what we always look at, apa yang kita selalu tengok bila kita publish, right? Majority of kita lah academicians kan, selalunya kita tengok where does the journal cited, normally kita tengok Scopus, kita tengok ISI ataupun SSCI ataupun SCI lah contohnya, right? So right, kalau ISI, right, this is Thomson ISI lah kan, maybe the page is quite outdated, but I believe, okay, you all agree with me lah, okay, ISI, right, and also Scopus. Again, like I pointed out, maybe the page tu nampak a little bit outdated, tapi generally I believe all of you here agrees with me that ISI dengan Scopus ni adalah two of the main I would say apa nama ni, citation lah kan, index yang kita follow, right, kita tengok, right. And then bila kita tengok, right, if you look at, right, the publishers that are the top publishers, of which the journals are being covered by Scopus. Kalau kita tengok, right, if I said the top 4 publishers di situ, right, the top 4 publishers ni, Elsevier, Springer, Wiley Blackwell, Taylor and Francis ataupun Routledge are also the top 4 publishers yang mana most of their journals are indexing Scopus. Right, you tengok Elsevier, right, 10% representation, right, then 8% for Springer and 5% each for, right, Wiley Blackwell and Taylor and Francis. Sebab itulah saya cakap, that is the reason why I say these top 4 publishers are also the tier 1 publishers. Because most of their journals ni memang being covered ataupun indexed in Scopus. Okay, right, then followed by the tier 2 publishers, contoh di sini, right, kita ada Sage, kita ada OUP, Oxford Industry Press, Emerald, InterScience, and many others. These are all, right, smaller publishers. Okay, and also satu trick that saya nak share with you, bukan trick lah kan. Okay, those of you who have just started your academic journey, okay, sama ada as a faculty member ataupun, right, you have orang kata starting to write your thesis, okay, my suggestion would be, right, do not, bukan nak cakap apalah kan, tapi I always focus on, right, where I submit my papers to, especially the publishers. Okay, something that I would like to share with you, okay, as of today I have about 100 plus lah, 100 plus papers published in Scopus, 100 plus papers published in Scopus. I would say that 1/3 of that 100 plus, okay, 1/3 of that 100 plus, about 30 papers also, right, was not a Scopus punya journal when I submitted my paper to them, to that journal. Okay, tapi right, after the paper was published, right, ataupun has been published, right, when Scopus decide to accept, right, that journals into their database, my papers yang dah published even before, right, before dah lama dulu pun, get accepted ataupun masuk dalam Scopus punya database. So it counts as part of my Scopus publication. That is the thing. Okay. So pada saya, if you ask me, okay, that is how I, formula kan, my strategy is I look for. Okay. So my risk maksudnya my risk is positive risk lah. Kan? I have nothing to lose. Good for, kalau the younger punya generation, younger punya academic members, right? It's positive for you all. Kalau hari ni you submit, journal tu tak Scopus, tapi senang nak masuk sebab dia belum Scopus. Tapi kalau publisher tu is a very good publisher, then the tendency of those journals getting accepted by Scopus is very high. In 3 years time, contoh dia, bila you nak minta promotion, right, journal tu dah masuk dalam Scopus, so you can present, right? See my Scopus, right? Publications now, right? Dah banyak sekian. Okay, right? Berbanding dengan, okay, difference with, right? Perbezaan dengan banyaklah, I would say that, you know, macam kalau jurnal-jurnal yang not that so reputable ni, kan, kita duduk yang publish mata semua kan. There is a tendency that, okay, the journal ni tadi, right, being excluded, okay, from Scopus punya list. Okay, being excluded from Scopus punya list. Worst case scenario, right, when the journal got excluded from Scopus punya list, daripada asalnya you adalah journal tu dalam you punya Scopus punya author punya page, kemudian that journal will be removed. Dah tak ada dah. Okay, I have seen examples of that situation before. Okay, I have seen examples of that situation before. Okay, you know, itu pun satu benda yang, right, you need to, right, really be careful on. Sebab saya sendiri pun, right, I have, you know, orang kata act as an assessor untuk kenaikan pangkat, for promotion APs, many universities, UPM, few other universities lah kan, from Malaysia. Okay, and one of the criteria that I look at, right, I will always look at, okay, where you submit atau where you publish your papers. Memang nombor satu saya tengok the publishers. I know the publishers. I don't really look at, you know, whether the ISI ke apa. Kalau dapat ISI, kalau ISI tu dia Elsevier, oh alhamdulillah, memang saya banggalah kan. Tapi, you know, other than that, I will be a little bit, I would say, inilah kan, agak concern. Right. Okay, there are many, right, ISI index journal page. Okay, you know, saya tak tahu, I am not that very sure whether, right, all these journals ni dia masih lagi ISI ke tidak. Tapi once upon a time, right, semua journals ni dia memang ISI. But I suspected that, okay, these journals all are no longer indexed in ISI. No longer ISI index. Sebab tu saya cakap, okay, kalau you are trapped in these situations, jadi sayanglah kan, you have spent, because dia submit journals kan, you dah spend beribu-ribu tu kan, lepas tu dah elok-elok ISI dah tak ISI kan, you know. So memanglah, kalau if you ask me, kalau jurnal-jurnal macam SMV apa semua kan, you know free, you know jurnal ni nak submit semua free, memang payah lah, it's very difficult, memang hard to penetrate to this journal. Tapi right, kalau tanya saya berbalik tak berbalik, sangat berbalik. Sangat berbalik. Right, these are also some of the Scopus punya index journals, right? So paid, again, like I pointed out, I'm not sure whether, right, these journals are still indexed by Scopus or not, right? You may check later on. But previously, you know, these at least these two are, you know, I would say indexed by Scopus. Okay, and then ISI index journals are free of charge of submission. Okay, why I listed all these? Right, because, okay, all these journals, okay, they are not being published by the top 4 publishers ke, tier 1 ke, tier 2 ke, tak. Okay, it's a standalone punya journal. Okay, standalone punya journal. You can try. Okay, you can try. I have, you know, published some papers, right, in some of these type of journals, right. You know, masa dulu lah dia free, sekarang saya tak sure, you have to check again lah kan. You have to check again. But it's free of charge lah that time. Tapi, right, memang reviewer dia memang betul-betul dia review lah you punya paper. They are very, very detailed. Okay, it's not easy. Okay, and I believe that until today, right, all these journals ni, right, memang masih lagi, right, still indexed by ISI, and many others, right, in stand-alone journal previously now being published by Taylor and Francis, Springer, and so on and so forth. Right, these are also some other scopus in that journal, right, yang stand alone, free of charge. Okay, free of charge. You nak publish dalam scopus journal kan, free of charge. Not necessary-nya, you have to go and find journal yang bayar apa benda semua kan, ataupun the top publisher. Boleh juga kan, orang kata yang bukan top publisher, but stand alone journal, tapi right, in terms of quality dia memang baik, tak ada masalah. Right, okay, moving on. Kita ada lebih kurang 10 minit macam tu lagi. Right, what I would like to highlight to you, right, so bila you nak submit, when you want to submit your journals ni, right, you need to be aware. Okay, because right, I'm not sure about now how rapid, right, this thing is ataupun these things are. Okay, what we said as bogus punya journal. Right, bogus journal ni, right, is orang kata, right, they try to portray that like they are orang kata apa nama ni, a true journal. Okay, tapi sebenarnya, right, there is an authentic punya journal, right, then there is also a bogus punya journal. Right, so normally kalau you dapat lah, I'm not sure whether right now you do receive all this type of emails or not. I've not received for long time already, quite some time juga. Right, contohnya macam ni, terima dalam email, receive in the email, right, dan dia siap bagi dengan dia punya link and things like that. So once you click right on that link tu, right, then you will be directed to this website. Okay, this website ni tadi, it is a bogus punya website. Okay, but if you look at the authentic punya website, rupa dia lebih kurang sama. Tetapi right, dia punya address tu adalah berbeza. Ini right, is an authentic punya website. Journal dia sama, right? Journal is the same, right? Name everything is the same, right? Cumanya, right, satu ni adalah bogus, this one is authentic. Right? Same goes to this one, Wolfania ni, this one is a bogus punya website, this one is a authentic punya website. Jadi kalau you tengok, excuse me, bentuk dia, right, dia punya layout apa semua lebih kurang sama. Okay, authentic punya journal ni, ISI ni, this is ISI journal, and this is a very good journal actually. Okay, very good journal, tapi yang authentic lah kan, yang bogus dia tu kan tak kira lah kan, apa benda pun paper you submit semua dia accept. Sama juga macam ni, right, I did receive this in my email, right, I just use this as example for you all to see, right, dia akan bagi dia punya website di sini, right, so bila you click on the website, it will direct you to this page. This is the bogus punya page. Nama betul Arab Gulf Journal of Scientific Research, right, but this is a bogus page. Okay, yang betul punya page adalah right, this one. Okay, sama Arab Gulf Journal of Scientific Research. Dan jadi jangan kita tengok, oh ISI kita pun laju je pergi submit kita punya paper kan. And kalau yang bogus punya journal ni, ISI whatever, they ask you to make payment. Okay, they ask you to make payment. And I have read so many people complaining, ada yang dah spend sampai dia dah bayar sampai 450,000 US dollars. Okay, for a few papers kan. Lepas dia dah lebuh dia duit 450,000 US dollars, baru dia realise that dia dah hantar duit tu kepada bogus punya duit dia, yang apa yang jadi adalah duit dia hilang. Okay, right. Okay, so these are other, right, orang kata examples, okay, some of the bogus punya website dan juga authentic punya website. So kalau you dapat dah email ke apa kan, orang kata apa nama ni, asking you to submit papers to their journals apa kan, so be careful lah, jangan kita ni terpedaya kan. You know, so be vigilant lah. Jangan kita ni, do not be like, this is opportunity, right? Not all opportunities present themselves, right? To you. Okay, right. Apa nama ni? Okay. So, previously also, I also do receive, emails daripada apa nama ni, contoh dia Elsevier. Okay, Elsevier. Solicit paper, ada tu suruh bayar untuk jadi editorial board member Elsevier, right? Jadi, right, kalau if you talk about Elsevier, right, they never solicit papers directly. Itu something yang you kena be very careful lah. You have to be very careful. Okay, characteristics of this bogus punya website, journal ataupun phishing punya email ke whatever, kita tengok dia solicit for paper. Selalunya jurnal-jurnal yang bagus ni, right, Elsevier journal banking and finance, kan, pernah you dapat tak email daripada journal banking and finance dia solicit paper? Tolonglah submit journal paper pada journal kami, kan. Tak ada siapa. Because diorang sendiri pun berlambak berpuluh ribu paper yang diorang nak kena baca. They have to, like submissions, like tens of thousands of papers every year that they receive, kan. So they have no time to solicit for papers from other authors, kan. They don't have to do that. They don't need to do that also, kan. They are not short of papers. Selalu kalau dia solicit for papers ni, maksudnya dia ada udang di sebalik batu. Many grammatical errors on the web page. Pergi kan tengok apa ni kan, grammar tak betul ni kan, ataupun dalam dia punya email tu itself, kan, lots of grammatical mistakes. So kalau kat sini nampak I've highlighted lah, nanti insyaAllah later on if you receive this PowerPoint slides, nanti you boleh tengok, kan, memang terlalu banyak grammatical mistakes. And then the final one is pay to publish. Although tak semua, tak semua jurnal yang pay to publish ni tak baik, kan, ada yang baik, kan, tapi generally lah, kan, generally you have to be a little bit more aware lah in terms of the pay to publish punya journals. Okay, some of my I would say inilah orang kata final words lah, kan, especially untuk orang kata yang tengah buat PhD ataupun yang baru lepas buat PhD, masih lagi semangat kobar-kobar, kan. So the initial part tu, kan, awal-awal lepas buat habis PhD tu semangat semua tinggi, kan. Lepas tu dia menurun melepek, kan, dah jadi flat gitu, kan. So this is something that you need to be really careful of lah, kan. Try to maintain lah. Jangan drive tu semangat tu awal-awal, lepas tu kita slow down, langsung lebuh, kan. Okay. Alright, so so that's it lah, I think, kan. Apa nama ni, need to have good physical and mental health lah, especially dalam musim-musim COVID ni, kan. Dah semua ni duduk perap dalam rumah, nak exercise tak boleh, nak jalan sana sini tak boleh, kan. Jadi so at least we need to do something lah to get to keep ourselves fresh and refresh, fresh and refresh, insyaAllah. Alright, so I think that's it lah for my presentation. Kalau ada apa-apa kekurangan, if there is any loopholes ataupun mistakes that that I have said, kan, saya mohon maaf lah, kan, because time is very limited, so I have to go through quite fast lah, kan. So insyaAllah I will be open to any questions lah, insyaAllah. Kalau ada organizer let me, insyaAllah I will open for any questions from the floor, insyaAllah.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for today's speech, Professor. Although I have one question for me. Professor, what's the highest tier have you gotten on your journal?
Highest tier, I would say that if that is according to my own classification, right, I would say that it will be tier 2 lah. The highest will be tier 2. Okay, tier 1 still work in progress. Okay, so something that I did not manage to ataupun I did not highlight earlier on, for you to publish in the tier 1 punya journals. Okay, if you want to publish in the tier 1 journals, you need to collaborate. Okay, you need to collaborate with a club member. Okay, kalau saya sebut club member ni, dia bukan club main golf tu kan, golf and country club tu apa kan. When I say club member ni means that okay, you need to collaborate with someone that has already published papers in that tier 1 journal. Then only baru you ada chance to get your papers published in that journal. So dia punya requirement untuk tier 1 ni different. Bukan saja quality of your journals and things like that, tetapi you kena juga collaborate with someone that have ataupun that has published in that particular journal. Sebab itulah that is also a challenge. Okay, so sometimes I wanted to do some papers, some issues, some things, tetapi the issues that I wanted to do maybe not that really of interest to the person lah yang dah pernah publish in that journals. Then maybe they suggested me to do something else, some other topics, but maybe it's out of my expertise ataupun I have limitations in terms of data and things like that kan, so I cannot do cannot focus on that one yet lah kan. Tapi that is actually since I've gone through the tier 3 dan tier 2 now, next what I have left concentrate that I would like to look at will be the tier 1 punya outlets, insyaAllah. Mudah-mudahan adalah peluangnya kan, insyaAllah.
I see. Thank you, Professor. But it seems the time isn't on, how to say this, not on our favor. I'll straight to the announcement, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, yes.
On behalf of the organizer, I would like to invite all participants to join our 4th workshop. Will be on the 6th August, which will be this Friday from 3 till 5 p.m. Malaysian time. The topic will be on research proposal drafting workshop, in depth into chapter 2. The speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Izzat Nur Ma'aruf from INTI International University. E-certificates will be provided via email to all participants, and training hours will be digested for all UiTM staff. To those asking for the slides and recording of this webinar, we will provide both to you via email. You can also visit UiT official YouTube channel to rewatch the webinar once this video has been uploaded. But aside from that, I would like to close today's workshop. Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Fadzlan, for this insightful and detailed explanation on communicating research findings on how to get published in journals. Thank you so much to all participants who have stayed until the end of the session. Before we end our session, do you have any last word or advice for us on research writing and publication?
Okay, thank you very much. Nothing much. I would say that just a simple advice, especially to those the younger ones lah, kan, the young researchers, those as just beginning to start doing your analysis for your PhD. Okay, and also those yang just graduated, okay, just starting on your PhD punya, the faculty punya, academic punya life kan. Be productive lah, okay, be productive, try to be as productive as possible, and insyaAllah, although initially like I pointed out earlier on, okay, maybe you can focus on the quantity, tapi do not forget on the quality of the outlets as well. It's very important as part of your research strategy going forward, insyaAllah.
Thank you, Professor Fadzlan. We, the organizer, hope this session has helped everyone to have a better understanding of today's topic. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today's workshop. Once again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our speaker, Professor Dr. Fadzlan, for being here today and for sharing his knowledge with us. I would also like to thank all participants for participating in this workshop. I hope you have learned and obtained a lot of useful information through this workshop. That's all for today, and thank you. Thank you, Professor Fadzlan.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for my amateur host.
Tak apa. Relax.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Okay, insyaAllah. Thank you very much.
Nanti in future if we ni kita boleh collaborate lagi, Prof ya?
Boleh insyaAllah. Tak ada masalah.
Thank you, Professor.
Alright, thanks.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Prof, apa projek lepas ni?
Apa projek apa ada projek kan? Kalau kata immediate term ni lebih kepada ni lah, lebih kepada